How did this one rank in terms of the events you've promoted all through your career?
Well, I have to say, I mean, Dublin delivers and then it delivers and it delivers again. I mean, what a fantastic night. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as the 9,000 fans in there and obviously all the people watching on TV. I just thought it was absolutely incredible night. Hairs on the back of your neck stuff. And, I think we see people like big stars, Benson Henderson, MVP, winning some new fans over here, fighting in front of the crowd for the first time. But the night really belonged to the Irish fighters. I think, all of them pretty much delivered, if not great fights, but wins. You got Liam McCourt, obviously Keith are there, and then Peter Queally. What a fight! Opening up the TV, obviously in the UK and Ireland. So great to see that fight. I don't know how he pulled that one out the bag at the end. I mean, amazing fight. Just been speaking to him. Great effort. And then James was a cherry on the top at the end of the night. Really good.
It's a strong stable of Irish fighters you've got here. We've had one event in Dublin this year. You're going to have two events in London by the end of this year. What sort of bandwidth is there to maybe have two events in Dublin next year?
Well, we've had two events in Dublin this year, so I think we could well be back next year for one or two events.
Just on that, Dave, last time you were standing in this arena last February or March or whenever it was, one of the first things you said is we'll be back in September. So the same question: when's the return visit?
Well, you might want to keep your weekends free in February, I think.
Okay.
Would you consider Belfast?
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. Obviously, Bellator have been there in the past, the SSE, and I think it's a great venue. I think we're open to all opportunities, and I love the idea of going to Belfast. I think it's hard to argue not to come back to Dublin every now and again. I think you get a market like this, and we've got the fighters, we've got the roster, so you'll definitely see us back in Dublin and hopefully in Belfast in the future.
Dave, MVP was very upset with Dan Mergliata's performance tonight, and he's demanding an apology. Are you going to try and mend bridges there and have a chat with them both?
Yeah, I'll speak to the guys. I mean, to be fair, I haven't spoken to either of them yet. I mean, it was clear Dan wasn't up for any showmanship tonight, and maybe it was started off by, I think he was keeping an eye on the fight, wanted to have some respect for the fighters, and what was going on. But, out of a night of great fights, I think it was a small little blip. I'll do a bit later.
David, there was a little bit of criticism for obviously the top two fights. They were very much one-sided fights, and obviously the main event ended very quickly, and the co-main event one-sided. Is that something you'll kind of look at going forward? James Gallagher is going to headline, and they want him as the Irish fighter going forward. But is it something you want even fights at the top of the cards going forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's obviously the results are what they are, but I think when you look at certainly the Gallagher fight, I mean, that was a late replacement. I think Cal, as we know, would have been a really tough fight for James. I don't think that was ever going to be an easy fight. Salazar stepped up, and he's a great fighter, a solid fighter. That could have gone either way. I think he was annoyed with himself. He fell into that, and James did an excellent job. But that fight, could have gone completely differently, and certainly maybe even if Cal had been here tonight, we might have seen a longer fight maybe. On the Kylie MVP, I mean, it was an exciting fight. I think everybody felt like that in the arena. MVP was too much for Kylie in the end. That fight was an interesting one. I mean, you're always going to get criticised for that fight. I think it was exciting and interesting. Richie certainly knows how to sell a fight, so it was good fun on the build-up. But I think the MVP was just too much for him tonight.
What sort of opponent can we expect for MVP in London, and will he be headlining?
Well, as you know, we've got a fight coming up in 2 weeks' time in Milan. We've got Melvin against Bahai. That's a big night for us. And then we've announced Saturday the 23rd of November in London. We've already announced Fabian and Mike Shipman, which will be a hell of a fight. Lots of electricity, I think, already going on for that. But we did say we'd announce a big fight for London. Mike sort of put his name in the hat after the win. Obviously, I don't think it'd be the worst idea to have him fight in London, but we'll have to wait and see. But we'll be announcing a big main event for that.
Will it be Paul Daly?
Sorry?
Will it be Paul Daly against MVP?
We'll announce something in the next couple of weeks.
I think that's a maybe.
Dave, recently the KSW boss Martin Lewandowski said he approached you guys about maybe doing a bit of cross-promoting. He even tried to make Paul Daly versus Roberto Soldic for one of their shows in London. He's interested in doing that, but what about from your side? Are you interested in that at all?
Look, I mean, you just have to look what Scott Coker's done throughout his career, but certainly even recently with Bellator, we've had the deal we've done with Risen and having co-fights over there. We're always up for that sort of thing. Martin runs a really good operation out in KSW in Poland. He's got some great fighters there and got a huge following. I don't think that will be out of the question going forward. I think, I've spoken to Martin in the past. He's a good guy, and always up for new ideas.
In terms of James, I've heard reports that potentially Cal might be getting medically cleared, and we all hope that is the case. Do you feel that you owe him the James fight, and James seems to kind of want it as well, just to kind of cross the T's and dot the I's there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but I believe there's some good news at the end of the road there for Cal, and it's been an awful time for him. I think he handled it very graciously. I think he spoke to James as well. He felt sorry for James, which I thought was very noble of him, and I think that's a great fight. I think I'd hope to see that in the future.
How far away is James in the future?
I think you just got to remember, the guy's like 22. I think we feel like he's been on the landscape for a while now. He's obviously delivering. I think I'd like to see him develop into the fighter he could be. Whether that's in 6 months' time or in a couple of years' time, let's see. But I mean, you'd have to say on tonight and his past performances, he's on the road to a title shot, and it'd be nice to do one in Dublin, wouldn't it?
How far away is he from fighting on American TV?
On what, sorry?
On American TV.
Well, he's already fought on American TV. I mean, he's already fought in Madison Square Gardens on American TV when he fought over there and did a great job. So he does well on American TV anyway. And this fight was available on the app over there as well. So I'm sure they'll see him, and he has that thing, James. People like to watch him. So.
David, what was it? Conor McGregor was here tonight, and obviously, maybe not the last time, but a time before, there was a big incident with him when he jumped the cage and stuff, and there was almost another incident tonight. So, was there precautions taken with McGregor here and with him standing cage height this year on his team?
Well, look, it's great to see him here. I mean, I think he brings a lot of energy. The fans obviously, really like him. He's a huge star for MMA, and he brought some energy coming into the arena. I think the last time, it was the only time he was in the cage that year, was in the Bellator cage, which was quite good fun. But this time, Peter and James jumped out the cage to greet him. So I think it was just a slightly different choreographed thing for them. But no, we took precautions. Obviously, I think you saw around there was plenty of security both for him and for the fans as well.
Very quickly, just on Soren Bak, who's going to be fighting in London. I understand he had an offer from the UFC to fight in Denmark this weekend, and he ended up signing for Bellator. What does that say about what you guys are doing over here, building the brand for Bellator in Europe and offering an alternative route to world-class MMA for fighters in this part of the world?
Well, Scott's always put it out there. If anyone's coming up for end of contract, come and have a word with us. I think you've seen the big names, obviously Masasi, Chida. They're fighting tomorrow night. They came across from UFC contracts, and that's on one side of the spectrum. And then you look at someone like Soren, who's got his future in front of him, and he made a conscious decision to come to Bellator, which I think just legitimizes where we are and what can happen. And I think you can see both sides of the spectrum there.
David, James has said that he's not going to fight in Dublin again next year or in the coming years. We talked about it a little bit, but can you shed any more light on what the story is of that?
Well, I can't shed light on what's going on in Jimmy's head, but I'd love to see him fight in lots of places, but I'd like to think we'd see him back here.
And you've committed to this February and September thing for 2020 as well?
Look, I think we'll, as I said, keep your diaries free in February. It's nice to be back here, and I think there's a nice, a nice consistency. We were here in February, we came back in September, and I'd like to see us here at the beginning of the new year.
Scott Coker has said that they're going to bring Fedor to a number of countries that he hasn't been before. Is Dublin potentially on that list?
Well, I think he's certainly get a good welcome here. I mean, we've got Fedor for 3 fights, which was kind of like a farewell tour. I think it's obviously not cemented where he's going to be, but I was speaking to people like Dan Merglea here. He just could not believe it. I mean, all the refs are out there taking pictures with their cameras. I mean, they just could not believe the atmosphere tonight. So I think it's a great venue for anybody, Fedor included.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks.